Dear Civil Service students, recently the Parliament of India passed a law banning triple talaq. Prior to that, a few months ago, the Honorable Supreme Court gave a ruling against the ban on the entry of women into Ayyappa Shrine in Sabarimalai in Kerala. These two landmark events have been major developments in the direction of gender equality in India. Therefore, one would not be surprised if there is a question on gender equality or some other related topic, either for writing an essay or in the GS paper this year. One of these topics could be the raging debate on uniform civil code for the country. In this video, let us take up this very important topic and examine all its aspects. Article 44 of the Constitution gives one of the directive principles as, "The state shall endeavour to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India." However, even after nearly 70 years of the Constitution coming into operation, the country is still debating whether to have a uniform civil code at all. In a recent judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court of India have faulted the government for procrastination in the matter of providing the country a uniform civil code in consonance with the provisions of Article 44 of the Constitution. The court launched a scathing attack on the Indian state's lack of will in bringing a uniform civil code in spite of frequent exhortations by the apex court. The court said this has resulted in Article 44 remaining a dead letter. The state of affairs where personal laws are allowed to continue and have not been replaced by a common civil code produces a number of anomalies that do not accord with our democratic principles. Such a state of affairs deprives members of certain communities receiving legal protection available to members of other communities. This goes against the fundamental right that a person cannot be discriminated on grounds of religion. It was with a view to provide such equal protection to Shah Bano in 1986 that the Honorable Supreme Court ordered maintenance for her. The continuance of personal laws are also against the secular spirit of the Constitution. As I said above, personal laws based on religion are antithetical to the spirit of democracy. A religious community in the modern world is not a monolith. It has internal diversity. In today's world of science and enlightenment, each individual synthesizes his or her own concept of religion and does not necessarily follow the religious tenets and practices in their entirety. A religion-based personal law applicable to all members of the community presumes that all members accept the religious tenets in their entirety, even when these tenets might go against their fundamental rights. One question that arises is, why is it that uniform civil code is not getting universal acceptance even among educated Muslims? Even an organization like Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan, which spearheaded the movement for ban on triple talaq, is against the bringing of uniform civil code. The reason is that the entire debate about the civil code has been mired in a majority versus minority clash of interests. Many Muslim organizations view the demand for a uniform civil code as a project of the Hindu right-wingers to deprive Muslims of their distinct identity in the country. One question that is raised is, will a uniform civil code be a redoing of the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 and other Hindu laws, Or will there be a total rehash that does not take into account the religious practices of any particular religion? Many Muslims fear that a gradual surrendering of their distinct practices in the name of universal equality will result in their absorption into the Hindu majority fold. Therefore, the first step for the government, the media, and all right-minded people would be to take the issue of uniform civil code away from its present fixation as a Hindu-Muslim identity. The issue needs to be examined dispassionately, and the major contributors to the discussions should be the educated and enlightened Muslims. Unfortunately, many TV channels use this emotive issue to bring together extremists on both sides of the spectrum to turn the discussion into a communal fight to enhance the TRP of the channel. One difficulty in settling the issues related to uniform civil code is that in our country a number of personal practices are tied up with religion. It is not easy to disengage these practices from their intricate labyrinth and formulate a code that would be totally secular and devoid of all religious shadows. Many educated Muslims want reforms, but within the framework of their own religion. They are apprehensive that surrendering their distinctive personal laws in favor of a uniform code would merge their identity with the majority community. Here it is relevant to mention that the Indian Constitution does not define the term minority. Obviously, the Constitution treats all citizens as equal and does not want to visualize them as majority versus minority. However, in practice, the majority-minority syndrome dominates elections and all other aspects of power politics. We must understand that the present system is full of contradictions. In our country, polygamy is illegal, and yet the Muslim Personal Law Board in India upholds it. Consequently, in the absence of a uniform civil code, Muslims are permitted to marry multiple times. At times, Hindus convert to Islam in order to remarry while their spouse is still alive. This means a Muslim is given the right to marry when a spouse is living and divorce has not been obtained, but the same right is not given to a Hindu. At the same time, a Muslim woman must suffer another woman in her house while a Hindu woman need not. In the modern world, many educated people, irrespective of their religious identity and beliefs, feel uncomfortable about being controlled by religious heads. Gone are the days when the word of the religious head, who may know nothing more than the religious scriptures, was accepted by every member of the community as the word of God. The educated man or woman of today questions such diktats of the religious preacher. It is this questioning that resulted in the ban on triple talaq. Now the gender injustice of polygamy stares the Muslim women in their face. A uniform civil code can provide relief. Ban of polygamy will also help control the burgeoning population of the country. How you conclude your essay or your question in GS paper will be your choice. But my conclusions would be like this. Steps should be taken by the government, the media, and all right-thinking people to take away the Hindu-Muslim angle from the issue of uniform civil code. Before framing a uniform civil code, an atmosphere in its favor should be created by holding healthy and unbiased discussions involving educated and enlightened participants rather than religious leaders who have an axe to grind in maintaining the status quo. While framing the code, the members of the committee that prepares the draft should have members from all religious communities. Caution should be taken not to give to the new law a bias in favor of any particular religion. Dear students, today we have discussed what I think is a very important topic from the point of view of the forthcoming examination. If there is any topic that you would like me to discuss, please let me know. You can ring me up or send a mail to me. And all the best for your preparation.